the early days of blockchain was a lot of speculation and pump and dump and all this stuff. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a way to decentralize ownership of data, right? And reward users and reward people for.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are on another episode of Facts Over Feelings, and we're coming at you none other than Turning Point USA, largest America Fest ever. But I have a very, very special guest here today. We actually have Mr. Bryan Ferre. He's an accomplished business strategist, a life coach, and he's an impressive repertoire spanning over 30 years. His academic pursuit of holistic natural medicine and quantum university cum laudes is current status PhD candidate, enriching his approach to personal and professional growth. And he's the co-author of The Shift and also the Vice Chairman of Parler, the free speech platform that we have out there. So welcome to the show today, Bryan.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
What we like to start off every show with is give us a little bit of background to the audience about your background and your personal American dream story, because I think everybody's got their own unique American dream story, and that's what it's all about, and that's why we're here today.
Very cool. So I started my career back in the mid '90s.
Okay.
So I was around when the internet started, right?
Oh, okay, great.
And
we're going through a similar era now with the AI boom,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, the dot-com boom. Now we're going into AI.
Right. Yeah. So I'll tell you, when back in 1996, 97. My team, we had this idea for a website. I'm going to share the idea real quick. You tell me if you think it was a good idea. So back in those days, there were no digital photos, right? So we designed a website that you could plug your scanner into, scan photos of your kids and put them online and invite your friends to gather around and look at your photos.
Sounds a little familiar.
Yeah, it was a flop. We were way too soon, right? But in 2002, I gave a speech at a tech conference, and I talked about how I believed that in the near future, big tech was going to take over control of all of our personal data, and they would monetize it. And I was made fun of. Everybody thought, no, that'll never happen. And of course, 6 years later,
here we are. Right?
Yeah. But then in 2018, I discovered blockchain. And in the beginning, I thought, this is a joke, right? Like, I think I told you, I turned down 500 Bitcoin to design a logo. Right? So it was a way to go.
Well, you got a good story to tell.
Yeah.
And then when you understand that all things are possible through God, there's really nothing that's impossible. Then you can put a rocket on the moon like Elon.
Yeah. Impossible is not even. It shouldn't even be a word.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's like when you have that positive energy, a lot of people don't even realize there's science behind what their brain works. You have a reticulating activating system that's on the base of your skull here. You have 60,000 thoughts a day. You can't possibly process it. So what happens is your brain in that activating system filters out what it thinks is most important. So if you're giving all the attention and energy to your problems, it thinks your problems are most important. And what happens? You get more problems in your life. And that's why you probably notice there's two different types of people in life. There's always the person that's woe is me. It's almost like they can never catch a break, and they're always having one thing after the next happen to them. And then you got that person, it's like they're floating on clouds. Everything in life is flying, and they got like the Midas touch. Everything they touch turns to gold. But I think that's the differentiator. It's like where their energy and their focus shifts. That's what you're really seeing there, and that can tip in two different ways.
Yeah, and this will be fascinating for the title of your show, right? So I think human beings believe that emotions and feelings are like choices, right? And feelings are just the result of a thought. So when you have a thought, it triggers a feeling. So for example, if you have the thought in the morning that I'm going to have a terrible day, or it's Monday and it's, that creates a feeling, and that feeling triggers the next thought. So if you want to have positive things in your life, you can't begin your day with a thinking, feeling cycle.
Firm believer of that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let's go a little bit more into the blockchain. What's what's up on the horizon for your blockchain projects that you've been working on?
So we created the Optio blockchain, and it's an open framework, so anyone can integrate their apps to it, and it has built into it a very unique protocol we call proof of impact.
Okay.
And with proof of impact, we can, like for example, in Parler, we have gamified the use of the app. So the more you use it, the more you earn, right?
That's great.
But that proof of impact can be used anywhere. I'm very familiar with your fifth degree, right? Yeah. You could integrate the fifth degree, and as people are learning the principles, the 5 F's, right? Yeah. As they're learning those principles and integrating them into their life, they can be rewarded for doing that. So we can use proof of impact to make an impact in the world by incentivizing the behaviors and the activities and the actions that we all do, that if we knew that if we were doing the right ones, we'd improve our life, right?
I love that.
So that's our use case for the blockchain. There's a lot of weird blockchain projects. They're really...
And I've seen a similar one, and I don't know if it has any relation to it. I'm trying to think of the gentleman we were speaking to, but we started conversations because we have a software AI automation company. So we built it over the past 2 years, and what it does is it automates the hiring and training process in an organization. So you can post out to Indeed, the job boards, and when you get a resume back, it gives them a call to action, start their virtual interview, which pops up with a video interview question, and then once it's done completed, it lights up their webcam and microphone on their smart device, and they can reply back into the platform. But then we have AI analyze their automated interview and then give them 8 different insight scores into that. And then we also give them, from analyzing their digital footprint online, an 80% or better accurate DISC personality profile assessment within seconds, and then schedule them onto their calendar. So we had a company, actually uniquely enough, approach us, and they wanted to acquire the blockchain rights and kind of do what you're saying here, where they would own the code base only on the blockchain and then reward users with tokens and tokenization and then all that, and include that into their blockchain community.
Yeah, and I actually think that's where blockchain will be valuable for humans. Like the early days of blockchain was a lot of speculation and pump and dump and all this stuff. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a way to decentralize ownership of data, right? And reward users and reward people for, look, when we have a stimulus, right? When the government needs to stimulate the economy, how do they do that? They inject cash.
Absolutely.
Right? And the outcome of that is hyperinflation, right? Anytime you inject cash into something, it's going to inflate the value, right?
Absolutely.
So I believe what we should be doing is inserting and injecting value, not cash, but value. And there is so much that we do on a daily basis. Like you have your Apple Watch, you're walking around tracking your steps, right? Well, what if I could track those steps on the blockchain and reward you for taking those steps?
And really, at the end of the day, value is currency, right? The more value you provide, the more you get paid, right? You get paid in the proportion of the size of the problems that you solve, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Let's get into Parler a little bit. So that's been a unique journey. So now that you're over there on the Parler side of things through the acquisition, what's the future look like over at Parler?
So we are, as you know, we're a free speech platform, but we also are committed to family values. So we don't allow anyone on the platform that's peddling porn or posting porn. We're family friendly, and because of that, we're growing very, very fast. We also are a fully integrated platform, meaning we have the microblogging, which we've always had, but here at AmFest, we're releasing Play TV, which is our alternative to YouTube, and Burst, which is our alternative.
Which we're going to have to talk to you about that for our kids program, in our podcast, maybe.
Yeah. And we're releasing Burst here, which is our alternative to TikTok. There's a lot of concern about TikTok right now. In fact, they're going before the Supreme Court very soon. And so, I think the future is incredibly bright. And as the blockchain side of it grows, I think there's going to be some real impact made in people's lives.
And how do you think, January 20th, the clock resets.
Yeah.
How is that going to shift things for Parler, and how do you think that's going to shift really the landscape of America kind of moving forward?
You know, I think what we experienced in this last election was probably the most important thing that we've seen in our history and in our lifetimes anyway. And it has nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the community. And the community came together and said enough is enough, right?
Even though the optics maybe didn't show it on the media, but I think there was more unity that we've seen in this country in some time.
Absolutely. And I travel around the country a lot. And it was leading up to, in fact, in July, I gave a speech and I said, this election is going to be not only a landslide, but a magnificent shift in our country. And I was mocked. Oh no, the polls aren't going well. And and so
of course they weren't.
Somebody asked me about it, and I said, I have been in every state in the country this year, and I have not met one person, not one, not an Uber driver, not a restaurant person, nothing. And so I knew where we were going. But I think what's going to happen over the next 4 years, I think there's going to be significant shifts in the way government operates. I think it'll start to operate more like a business rather than an oligarch, right? Yep. And I think that Americans are going to talk to each other again. It's not going to be this divisive, you know. The fact is, I don't think we were ever that divided.
They flared it. Yeah, absolutely. What they did is they took the marginal radical, 1 to 2% on the left, and the marginal radical 1 to 2% on the right, and they made that the normal in the optics of things, and it just pitted us against each other in every way, shape, or form. But I mean, if you were to analyze that, and you analyze really what was going on in America there was very similar patterns depending on the strength of the Constitution in other countries that was going around the globe, and it was like one of the first times ever. You saw the wokeism. You saw all these different things that were happening almost like a playbook was unfolding, across the globe. And I don't think a lot of people, recognize that and give that enough attention, because really, that was kind of Marxism creeping in. A lot of people think America could never fall, but, Reagan said it best, we're, a decade away or 4 years away at any given moment of, losing what we value and cherish the most.
Yeah. And I think probably one of the most impactful and important things that's going to happen over the next 4 years is people are going to get financial freedom back. I think the last 4 years, and even the 4 years previous to that, we saw, because of the pandemic and all these other things, I think people are really focused on making their lives better from every aspect of their life, and I think we now have a window to do that.
So, one final thing I'd like to get into, because I think that's on everybody's mind, is how do we stay within the breadth of freedom of speech without shaking that foundation, but hold legacy media accountable to the truth? Yeah. And then who's the decipher of truth?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, truth, for me, I don't believe that there is a concept of absolute truth. And the reason why is because I might be discussing something with you, but there are so many other aspects to that thing.
Yeah, different variables.
You can't ever know it, right? I think legacy media is in trouble. Yeah. I think America realized finally what's really been going on with the media. And the other thing that I think we've got to do is we've got to stop making celebrities out of news people.
Absolutely.
Right? We've gone into this place where celebrity matters, and the reality is celebrity doesn't matter. So I think we've got to move away from that, but I think they did it to themselves this go around.
Yeah, we got to get everybody start looking up to God instead of looking up to Taylor Swift.
Exactly right. Exactly
Absolutely.
Right.
No, I'm a firm believer in that. And I guess, how does, if everybody's looking to follow you, how do people follow you? Or?
So they can follow me on X. They can follow me on Parler. I prefer they follow me on Parler.
Parler, all right.
But I'm everywhere.
Oh, great. And I guess last but not least, we like to ask all our guests at the end, what does facts over feelings mean to you?
Well, by the way, I love your show, and
Thank
I
you.
have for quite some time. We talked about this a little bit earlier. We have a problem in this country that, and really it's around the world, that how we feel about something is what impacts our lives, right? If I feel sad, then that somehow, impacts my life.
Yep.
And we have an epidemic problem with feeling bad.
Yep.
There's so much shame and guilt and all of these different things. You have to feel shameful about being chubby, or you have to feel shameful about not having money, or whatever it is. Feelings are the most powerful creative force in the universe. Our emotions are what create who we are. And so for me, facts over feelings literally means that your thoughts become things.
Absolutely.
And you've got to stop caving into this notion that how you feel about something is a result of the universe. You get to choose how you feel.
No, I love that answer. That's probably one of our best answers so far. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you for
it's
having me.
been an absolute pleasure.
You
talking
too.
with you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.